Money. It is, without a doubt, the number one source of stress for so many of us. But here's the secret. Most people don't struggle with money because they're bad at math. Not at all. They struggle simply because they don't have a plan. And yeah, figuring out how to build that plan, it can feel incredibly overwhelming. But what if we completely changed our perspective? What if, starting today, you treated your personal finances exactly like a highly successful business? Think about it. A good business meticulously tracks its revenue. It knows its expenses inside and out, and it is absolutely obsessed with its net profit. Well, in this explainer, we're going to apply that exact mindset to your wallet. We're going to walk through a 90-day financial reset that will completely transform your relationship with money.
Okay, let's dive into this four-phase roadmap. First, we audit and cut the fat. Second, we automate and protect your money. Third, we invest and grow your income. And finally, four, we track and plan the future. Here is how that 90-day time commitment actually looks on a calendar. Month 1 is all about stopping the bleeding and getting some much-needed clarity. Month 2 is about building your financial fortress. And month 3 is entirely dedicated to expansion and your long-term vision. Look, you don't have to fix your entire financial life today. Take a breath. By breaking this whole thing down into a manageable 3-month journey, we dramatically lower the cognitive load. You literally just have to follow the steps week by week to build incredible momentum.
Phase 1, audit and cut fat. Over the next 2 weeks, it's time to get painfully, radically honest about where your money is actually going.
And this brilliantly illustrates what we're tackling in week 1. Your task is the one we all dread, I know, but you need to pull up your last 3 months of bank and credit card statements. Open all those tabs on your computer, no matter how much it might sting. You're going to categorize every single expense into 3 main buckets. First, your fixed expenses, rent, utilities, groceries, the absolute bare necessities. Next, discretionary expenses, dining out, shopping, the fun money. And finally, your debt payments. We really need to find your monthly average in each of these categories so we know exactly what your personal business's true operating costs are. Once you have those averages, week 2 is all about cutting the fat. Sort those expenses from largest to smallest to find the lowest hanging fruit. Now, really ask yourself, can I realistically reduce this category by 10 to 30% over the next 90 days? I mean, maybe you can't easily chop down your rent, but what about taking a closer look at those Ubers you take when you're just feeling a little lazy? Or comparing car insurance rates across providers, which, let's be honest, nobody ever actually does, but it can save you $100 easily. By canceling unused subscriptions and just slightly reducing your dining out, you could potentially free up over $400 a month. That is almost $5,000 a year that we can now redirect toward actually building your wealth. Phase 2. Automate and protect your money. Over the next few weeks, we move from merely tracking our money to actively defending it. In week 3, we implement the absolute genius of the Pay Yourself First automation sequence. Here's exactly how it works. Your paycheck lands in your main checking account. From that account, you pay your standard bills and discretionary expenses. But, and this is the key, before you even get a chance to spend a single dime of your fun money, you set up automatic transfers that immediately route about 10% of your take-home pay right out of checking. Half goes straight to a high-yield savings account for short-term goals, and half goes into a brokerage account for investing. Human willpower is flawed, but automation never fails. Because it happens in the background, you remove all the friction. You literally won't even miss the money. Now, week 4, we have to confront consumer debt. 21%, that is the absolutely daunting average annual interest rate for credit cards right now. If you're currently carrying debt, paying an extra $50 to $100 a month towards the principal, or even simply calling your credit issuer to negotiate a temporarily lower rate is going to give you an instant return on investment. You are bleeding out 21% in interest. Stopping that bleed is without a doubt the absolute best investment you can make right now. Speaking of credit cards, let's jump ahead to week 9 for a second, because this is a critical part of protecting your wealth. Credit cards are a dangerous double-edged sword. With good self-control, running your expenses through a card and paying it off in full every single month is a dream. You get free money via cashback, and consistent on-time payments build up 35% of your total credit score. That unlocks massive savings on future mortgages. But lacking self-control traps you in that 21% interest cycle, joining the average American who carries hundreds of dollars in mounting debt. So if you aren't totally sure where you stand, test your discipline with a low-limit card for a few months before going all in. So the crucial point is to stay out of that credit card trap in the first place. Week 5 is all about hitting a vital safety milestone, building a $1,000 balance in your emergency fund. We want this money sitting securely in a high-yield savings account earning around 4% interest. Hitting this four-digit barrier is a massive psychological win. Consider this. 59% of Americans cannot afford a $1,000 emergency expense without going into debt. By hitting this milestone, using the cash you freed up back when we cut the fat, you buy yourself profound peace of mind.
Phase 3. Invest and grow your income. The fortress is built, right? Now we switch to offense. For weeks 6 and 7, we're going to make your money work for you.
In week 6, we set up investments. When creator Max Klauko asked Wall Street experts about top historical investments, the data was undeniably clear. Historically, stocks have produced significantly higher average annual returns than things like treasury bonds, gold, or even real estate. To build true wealth, you need to concentrate money in appreciating assets, specifically the stock market. For this 90-day plan, that means setting up a passive, automated purchase of S&P 500 ETFs. You're basically buying a diversified slice of top U.S. companies and just letting the market do its heavy lifting. Because consistency is where the magic really happens. Assuming an 8% average market return over 30 years, putting away just $100 a month grows substantially. But if you could automate $1,000 a month, you're looking at a final balance of $1.49 million. It transforms consistent passive investing into a guaranteed 7-figure net worth. Just trust the process and let compound interest do its thing. But I know what you're thinking. How do you get to a place where you can comfortably invest $1,000 a month? Well, that is week 7. We have to be honest here. Cost cutting has a strict mathematical limit. You can only cut out so many Ubers. Earning potential, however, that has absolutely no ceiling. This week, you must pick at least one actionable way to level up your income. That could mean finally asking your boss for a raise to match inflation. It could mean strategically job hopping, which can sometimes yield a 30 to 40% salary bump right out of the gates. Or it might mean starting a side hustle or learning a high-income skill like coding, sales, or design. The point is, you must focus on growth.
Finally, phase 4. Track and plan the future. The hard work is done. Now we establish the systems to maintain this forever.
In week 8, we're defining our major savings goals. Maybe it's a house down payment or maybe a wedding. But you can't just casually think about it. You have to write it down. A fascinating psychology study actually proved that the mere act of writing down a specific goal, figuring out exactly how much you need to save per month to hit it, and sharing it with someone increases your likelihood of achieving it by 42%. No joke. Put it on paper. Make it real.
Let's move to and see how this builds into week 10, where we introduce the ultimate scorecard of your financial business, your net worth. This is simply the total value of all your assets. So your cash, your investments, maybe a home's value, minus any debts and liabilities you owe. By starting a habit of tracking your net worth monthly or quarterly, you get to actually watch your financial picture improve in real time. Around this time, let's say week 11, you should also sit down and quickly review your expenses from the past 2 months, just to make sure no new financial leaks have sprung up since you started this whole reset.
Which brings us to week 12, the final week of your 90-day reset. You've audited, you've automated, you've started investing. Now you translate that massive momentum into long-term stretch goals. What do you want in 1 year? Maybe it's saving $10,000. What about 5 years? Buying property or hitting a $100,000 net worth. And in 10 years, maybe it's total financial independence. Break these massive goals down into monthly savings targets. And crucially, I want you to open your calendar right now and schedule quarterly check-ins with yourself. That is how you ensure this incredible 90-day sprint turns into a lifelong marathon of accountability.
It takes immense discipline to treat your personal finances like a successful business. But if you follow this 90-day roadmap, you stop being a victim of your expenses and you actually start acting like the